Let's get you back out, though, to San Jose because it's time for After Hours. Scott Oake alongside Joel Ward.
David, thank you very much. Yes, Joel Ward is the NHL's poster boy for perseverance and determination, given the road he took to get here. Your story is a book or a movie, or maybe both. First of all, did you either text or phone your mother, Cecilia, before tonight's game?
Yeah, I talked to her this morning.
And what did she say?
We got some renovations on the house to do, so.
No, what does she always say to you?
She always says to make sure I'm in front of the net and trick the goalie is her favorite slogan.
There she is, and stitched on the back of her Shark sweater is Mama Ward, so she's not too proud, right?
Yeah, she's always got her. She always got her jersey going, and Mama Ward's always on the back, 42. So that's always a big request for her.
Trick the goaltender, simple yet solid piece of advice. All right, let's dive into your story. Here you are at the age of 9, the son of Cecilia and Randall, who immigrated from Barbados. What do you recall about how hard Randall and Cecilia worked to keep you and your brothers in the game?
They sacrificed everything for me. They were the two first people to believe in me to even get to this level. I remember my dad, growing up, he used to always tell his friends that I'd make it someday. And, of course, as a kid, you just kind of take it in, not really think too much of it. But, a lot of things that they've kind of sacrificed over the years for me just to get up early in the mornings, obviously, and to provide for me and my brothers is always something that we cherish.
And then at the age of 14, tragedy struck when Randall was watching you play a game at St. Mike's Arena in Toronto, suffered a stroke in the stands, and died a few days later. Mm-hmm. That would have been enough to drive any young player from the game. But you say hockey saved you. How?
It was my escape. It was obviously a huge loss for me. Obviously, I was close with my dad. He treated me like gold and gave me everything that I ever wanted as a kid. And when he passed, I remember even at the service, my father was cremated, and even on that day, I had a game at Chick Murray against the Mississauga Reps, I remember, and asked my mother if we can go to the game. And, she said, sure, let's go. And so just kind of in the middle of the service, we just kind of picked up and went, and hockey was my scapegoat and something I just loved to do, and it was kind of my own little moment there for an hour or so.
And then it was left to Cecilia, who was a nurse and worked the night shift, to raise you and your brothers, Shane and Julian. Mm-hmm. She worked 2 jobs. Tell us the story of how you slept many nights at the hospital.
Yeah, the hospital sleepovers were, I thought they were pretty cool as a kid, to be honest. I was treated like gold. The other nurses would come over and made sure I had food. And had my own little bed. I didn't really think much of it as a kid. I just thought it was kind of a normal thing, a little routine that my mother just tried to get me to and from games. So she was to work the night shift, of course, at Wesley and Riverdale Hospital at the time. And after games, kind of just drive me there and find me a little corner, find me a little bed. I'd kind of sleep, wake up in the morning, and then drive me to school.
And after a while, I guess you thought it was the routine, right? It's the way it's supposed to be. Everything Cecilia did was for the good of your career, and it got you drafted by Owen Sound in the 15th round. So 15th round means you had to work really hard to make that team, and you did. And you were there for 4 years. And from there, 4 years at the University of Prince Edward Island, where you had offers to turn pro after the 2nd and 3rd years, but you turned them down. Why?
I had a good chat with my family, my brother, who I leaned upon a lot growing up. Just thought it was the right thing for me to do is to finish. I knew if I left there, it'd have been tough for me to go back and finish those years I had left at school. So I think the main thing for my mother was to finish up. I started off there and just had a couple more years left at school and just grind it out, play the hockey. And once I was finished, I was able to play pro hockey after that. And things started to work out for me shortly after I graduated.
It pleased Cecilia that you got your degree in sociology. The guy who coached you there, Doug Curry, has said succinctly that when we recruit players, or when we recruited players, a lot of them might not have known much about UPEI or even where it was, but they knew that Joel Ward played there, and so you became a big recruiting tool for UPEI. And in fact, I think a couple of summers ago, they raised a banner with your numbers, so that had to have meant something to you. Here's a tweet from, and if I can find it, it's from Doug. I'm struggling here now because I've lost my place on this. Oh, Darcy Harris, there it is, I'm sorry. Ask J-Dubs if he and Kathleen, that's your fiance, are going to host his UPEI teammates, Cree, Breeze, and Darce in February. Hashtag we're coming. You got no choice here.
Yeah, you know what? He sent me a text to see if the guys could come down in February. I totally forgot to to get back to him.
You can answer him now.
Yeah, Darce, we'll have to talk about it. I got to talk to Kathleen about it, but usually the guys just try to come down if they have a time. They came down a couple times when I was in D.C. and Nashville, and so hopefully it's an ongoing tradition for them to come down and visit, and it's always good to connect with the guys.
Look, if we had an hour, Joel, we could detail all your stops after the University of Prince Edward Island, but we'll summarize it this way by saying that Minnesota signed you as a free agent, sent you to the AHL. In November, or I should say in 08, Nashville signed you as a free agent, and then in October of 2010, just shy of your 28th birthday, you played your first game for the Nashville Predators, and finally you had made it as a full-time NHLer. As you answer this question, you can look at your first ever NHL goal, which I think you scored in your first ever game. But
wow, geez, JP.
How long since you seen this, by the way?
Oh my God, holy! We were talking about it the other day. I think with Timo, just who was your first goal, and
right.
I was trying to play back with him and tell him I got to pass from JP Dumont in the slot, and shot. It was Manny Legacy in St. Louis, right. And wow, that brought back a lot of memories right there. Yeah, what an unbelievable feeling that is.
Well, the question was going to be, did you ever lose the faith along the way?
I didn't. You know what? Along the way, I kind of thought the American League was my NHL. From school, I wanted to play pro hockey so bad. I just kind of kept grinding, and I knew once I got there, I was in Houston there, and I kind of, just kind of got more confidence. I had a lot of guys. Rob Dahm was a coach there. Cam Stewart, who spent a lot of time with me, just helped me out along the way, and just kind of believed in myself even more.
You've scored some big goals in your NHL career, and I guess one of the biggest was Game 7 OT versus Boston in the first round 2012 to eliminate the Bruins. And sadly, that brought out the worst in many Boston fans who tweeted some graphic, racist remarks. This was the goal that drove the Bruins from the playoffs. I think everyone was struck during that controversy and the flack you were taking undeservedly about how you handled it with such grace. How did you do it?
For me, it's racism is something that's kind of always existed, and unfortunately, been kind of dealt with it myself on a few occasions, and it's something that I've kind of lived with, and I knew actually I wasn't expecting it at the time, to be honest with you. Obviously, we played a game. I was just trying to do something that everybody else was trying to do, score a big goal and help the team win, and I thought it was unfortunate. It took away a lot of our team. We battled hard against former champs. It took away Holpe, who played unbelievable in that series, and we went to Game 7. So it took away a lot of our team aspect of it, and kind of just shifted the focus a little bit of our team winning and moving on. But it was definitely something unfortunate that happened. And it's hard to control when you got a couple of kids in their basement tweeting or whatnot. But it is what it is. It happened, and it's just something that hopefully we can kind of come together as a society and build upon.
As one of the few black players in the NHL, you were asked at the end of September if you would join some NFL players who were at the time, and some still do, kneeling during the anthem. You thought long and hard about it, said you'd consider it, but then said you wouldn't do it. Why not?
I think it was just something that a lot of people lost focus of what really was. I think the main thing, a lot of people were really on the topic of just whether you're kneeling or not, as opposed to what the actual problem was. So the reason why I said I wouldn't discard it is because what Colin Kaepernick and what he was standing up for and what a lot of the other guys were standing up for, and it's something that's, again, the police brutality and racism in our society, and for myself, I've been through a lot, as we know, through hockey on and off the ice, and I've had my incidences too, so it was just something I didn't want to definitely ignore, and for myself, it was just more important to let everybody know, more awareness of this does go on, and it's important for people to talk about it and to close that gap between what we've been going on.
You're very thoughtful about it, and I think that's what people would have expected of you. Here's a tweet from Ed Hall. Why do you wear number 42?
I wear number 42 because of Jackie Robinson. I got a chance to read his biography a while back, and when I was switching teams and I was coming to DC, I just kind of happened to want to pick a number that was meaningful to me, and sure enough, 42 was available, and just trying to represent the numbers best I could, and it was just something I take pride in, for something where what he stood for and what he did on and off the field.
Perfect. Cecilia and Randall, before he passed away, surely instilled in you a sense of compassion, never more evident than in a relationship that you began with a young man in Nashville named Malik Johnson. How did you meet him?
Malik Johnson, yes, I met him through Big Brothers Big Sisters in Nashville. It was, for myself growing up, it was growing up in a single-parent family home, and it was always tough to look for that father figure. My brothers were obviously instrumental in that, and so I had a chance to sign up through that. And once I did, I kind of got a chance to meet Malik, and we just hit it off right off since day one. I remember the first day we just went to go get some ice cream and just kind of chatting a little bit, and just wanted to sign up. And sure enough, just took him on, and what remarkable strides he's taken over the years. It's unbelievable what he's accomplished, and for him to graduate high school and be the first in his family, and in college taking courses is unbelievable.
Well, here's a clip from a feature on you and Malik and your relationship. It's the high school principal who frames the magnitude of the help that he got from you and others.
Malik faces challenges every day, whether it's gang violence, whether it's drugs. I don't know that we can fully understand unless we actually walk that path what he faces every day. The fact that he believed he would not make it to his 18th birthday is pretty stark of what he has faced in his life. And to see him overcoming that because people have poured into his life, have loved him, have cared for him, and made a difference.
So a year and a half ago, Malik became the first member of his family, you've already mentioned this, to graduate from high school. It's Lighthouse Christian Academy, one of the top private schools in Tennessee, and he was able to go there in large part because you took care of a lot of his tuition. So how much pride do you take in him graduating?
Just see him from day one in class. He's an unbelievable kid if you don't know him. He's come such a long way. Especially in his books. He's come extremely long way, and the help that he's had over the course. Pete Rogers and the Nashville Predators are unbelievable to him. He's still working there as a job there with the Preds, so it's the care and the love that he has. Everybody's there rooting him on, supporting him, and just excited for his future. And he's got a great head on his shoulders. He's just got to keep going, obviously, and pound out that homework.
All right, from the same feature, here's Malik talking about you.
One day I'm gonna leave the projects, and I feel like Joel, what he did for me, I could never thank him for it, I could never repay him.
What a beautiful story. Is it true that when you first met Malik when he was 12, that you never even told him that you were a big-time millionaire pro athlete? He didn't know what you did.
No, he didn't. No, he didn't. He didn't. I think we had a lot of similarities growing up in a single-parent home with a couple of brothers. We had definitely a lot of similarities from the get-go, so it made it even more special to connect, and at least we could bounce things off one another, and whether ups and downs in personal lives and hockey, we can always chat about it. And he was really excited about just being part of the gang and meeting the guys, and just feeling like part of the family.
You've left an impression everywhere that you've played. First game back in Washington after signing with the Sharks here was mid-October 2015, and they welcomed back the Big Cheese with as loud an ovation as there was in the building that night. The feeling is the same, I think, Joel and Owen sound, PEI, Houston, Nashville, and now San Jose. I'd be interested to know, what's your guiding principle in life?
Just have fun and treat people with respect. I think it's just building a lot of relationships over there. I just love to interact with people, and I don't know, just caring for one another, and it's just just trying to be a good person. That's all it is. And along the way, I've met so many people. I think what my background, where I came from, and the sacrifice that people made for me, you just want to give back to others. And that's just basically how I've been living.
All right, in the short time we have left, I want to get this story. And Catherine Pedroza and you were engaged this summer, and it was no ordinary proposal.
Yes, she complains I'm not really the romantic guy, so I had to pull out all the stops and try to do my best about it. And I had some help along the way. Her good friend Alyssa here in San Jose was helpful. Kind of had some way say it's almost like The Bachelor meets amazing race, so to speak. Just kind of put a little scavenger hunt a little bit.
A fake scavenger
Yeah,
hunt.
of course. And
She was picked up in a white limo.
Yeah, she was picked up in a limo,
Delivered to the
thinking
scavenger hunt.
Yeah, thinking that she was doing something for the Sharks Foundation, and kind of went through a couple stops along the way in San Jose. And long story short, just kind of did up the backyard a little bit, and just to have some time to get down on one knee in the backyard. So it was.
So
a
the last
special
stop
moment.
on the scavenger hunt was you proposing.
Yeah, hopefully, yeah. That was the best part about it.
Very well done. I think that brings you about 2 or 3 years of romantic equity, don't you think?
Thank you.
Joel, great to have you on the show. We look forward to the book or the movie, whichever comes first.
Thank you.
Joel Ward, our guest on After Hours. David.